This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform where you can create your own website. This is a pretty big pile of drywall, but it's only about a quarter of the drywall for this project. Now that means that it's also only about a quarter of the drywall that we had to get into this apartment. And we live on the 3rd floor, there's no elevator, and the staircase is pretty narrow. Now in case you're new here, we are currently in the process of renovating an entire apartment in Oslo. That process has consisted of tearing everything down and then building gradually everything back up. And we're now in the part where we're building new walls, ceilings, floors, and that needs a whole bunch of drywall. Now, in my last few videos, you've seen us build a whole bunch of stuff with drywall. And in this video, the goal is to get this room finished up. But instead of making you just watch me build all this, I want to tell you a story. A story about how we got left with 5.5 tons of drywall on the sidewalk with no way to get into the apartment. So I guess the story is sort of a mix between failure and issues that pop up in a project like this, either caused by yourself or, in the case of this story, by someone else. But it's also going to be a story about friendship and, yeah, a story about how we got 5.5 tons of drywall into this apartment. So this story starts when Nordgips kindly agreed to provide all the drywall for this entire project. Now that ended up being 5 full pallets of drywall. 2 of those pallets basically being regular drywall and 2 of them being extra big and extra heavy, fiber reinforced, super strong sheets of drywall. Now we basically knew from the start that we did not want the job of carrying all this into this apartment. So we used the website where you can get other people to do various jobs. We listed this job on that website, and onto the listing I put as much information as I possibly could. How many sheets, how big they were, how heavy they were, which by the way is 27 kilos for a regular sheet of drywall and 43 kilos for one of the big sheets that we use on the walls. We did get a few quotes. We agreed with the company. They're gonna come here, carry everything up. We agreed on the price. Everything looks great, right on time. The big truck that delivers all of this shows up. The driver somehow manages to unload these huge pallets with a crane on his truck on a super busy road with overhanging power lines and a tram passing by super closely. And just as he leaves, the moving company shows up ready to work. So far, this story sounds pretty boring, right? And I think that's about when stuff just stopped going smoothly. Because as soon as I see the faces of the people that were gonna carry all this up, I can already sense that this is gonna be trouble, because they do not look like they want to do this job. We'd agreed on them showing up with 4 people. It was gonna take them all day. They knew what the job was. I'm still hopeful. Maybe this will go super smoothly without any issues. It didn't. Right off the bat, the woman, which also was the person I had spoken to on the phone and agreed on all the details, said that it was gonna be really hard work. And yeah, they seem really skeptical, but they agreed to get on with it, start the job. So 2 of them start carrying one of the big sheets, the ones that are 40 kilos and a bit oversized, all of which they already knew. They carry in the main gate and sort of at the entrance to the building. Before you really start the staircase itself, there's like 3 or 4 steps to get into the hallway. And then the first sort of flight is another 2 or 3 steps before the staircase makes its first turn and starts going upwards. They carried that first sheet up to that point, couldn't figure out how to tilt it. And then it seemed like they just were already totally ready to just give up. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, so I tried to work with them, figure out how we can best make this work, how to like navigate the big boards up the flights of stairs. And in the process of figuring this out, I sort of managed to twist and turn the board around the first bend of the first flight. I then helped the guys carry it up the next half flight of stairs. where they tried to do the same, couldn't really figure it out. I again helped them, sort of managed to wheel it around, get it up there, at which point they just gave up and watched me carry this huge 43 kilo oversized board up the remaining 2 flights of stairs into this apartment. Because I figured I have one more solution that would make it much easier. I just wanted to get that board in, I run back downstairs, and I tell the guys, okay, it was really hard to carry it up because the board is so long, not necessarily the weight. So let's cut the top 20 centimeters off the boards, because the boards are 3 meters long and this apartment is only 2.8 meters, and it's gonna make it a lot easier. As I had walked back down and telling them my plan of cutting it down to make it easier, they just basically said no. Didn't want to do the job. There were 4 people, all 4 of them were just standing there, didn't want to do any of the work. And me coming up with the solution of cutting it down to make it much easier to carry, the boss woman just told me that the guys don't want to do it. So they just left. I didn't pay them any money or anything, but they just left. At this point, it's like noon, so I'm standing there on the sidewalk. At least it's not raining, but I've got 5 tons of drywall that I somehow need to get into here. I briefly played with the idea of just carrying it all up myself, but after carrying the second board up the remaining flight, even with cutting it down to length, and not even joking, literally almost throwing up and passing out as soon as I managed to carry it into this apartment, I quickly disregarded the idea of doing that by myself. So I go back to the website where I'd found those first guys and contact everyone that had given me a quote for the job. And after calling a bunch of different companies, I finally find one. The guy is super nice. He doesn't want to do it for a fixed price, but he'll do it for hourly. He says it's about, I think, 80 or 90 bucks for 2 people per hour, which we agree to, and he also says that he will just send as many people as it takes. Now this time I don't want any surprises, so I send him pictures of all the drywall, I send him pictures of the hallway and the staircase, all the information about all the sizes and weights of all the sheets, how much to carry in here, and he said, yep, no problem, we'll take care of it. And we're like, finally, someone professional, this is gonna be great. Only slight downside was that his guys were on a different job and couldn't be here until like 4 or 5 o'clock. So I figured I don't want to sit around on my butt and do nothing. So I started carrying the small sheets of drywall. This is about half of what is left of that pile. Doesn't look like much, I'm fully aware. But these boards are not the standard 13, but they're slightly thicker 15 mil. They're super hard. They're actually hard enough to just hang a TV right onto those boards with regular wood screws. They're called Ultra Board. They're awesome. By the way, the reason why these boards are smaller is really just to make it easier to carry them, because we're just using these as the first layer on the walls that will have 2. So this first layer, never be usable. So over the course of the next couple of hours, I proceeded to carry 30-some of these up 3 flights of stairs to try and minimize the amount of work that the moving company had to do later on. And let me tell you, they're not super heavy. They're 16 kilos each, but after 3 flights of stairs, 15 times over, you do get tired. And you also get kind of bored. So I started counting steps. In case you're wondering, there's 44 steps between the ground floor and this apartment. So now that should be the end of the story. I had a rough couple hours carrying these things in. I got disappointed by a super unprofessional moving company. The professionals show up, carry everything in. We're super happy. Job well done. That's not how it went at all. So this is what happens. The first 2 moving guys show up. They're not even out the door of the car, and they already say like, no, we have to call our boss. I figure, cool, they'll tell the boss that it's a hard job and they need more people. Already knew that. This is gonna be great. At this point, I'd also cut down the sheets to the shorter size that should be easier to carry up the stairs. Now they do actually manage to carry that board all the way up into the apartment, although with a bit of difficulty, they manage. But as soon as they let go of the thing and it's in here, they both stand up, turn around, and we're like, nope, we're not doing this job. Upon which I'm like, what do you mean you're not doing the job? Do you have to wait for more people? They're like, no, we're not doing the job at all. We're leaving, like now, bye. So they get in the car and leave. So in the span of about 5 hours, 2 professional moving companies showed up, didn't want to do the job, and just left, leaving us with 5 tons of drywall just sitting there, not knowing what to do with it. So, what do you do in a time like that? You call your friends. Well, actually, first you try and see if you can manage to carry everything in by yourself with your girlfriend, then quickly realize that that's not gonna work, and then you start calling all your friends. We posted on Facebook, wrote a bunch of messages, called people, and sure enough, not even 20 minutes later, there's already a bunch of people here. I think at the most part, we were 10 people at the same time carrying sheets of drywall up into the apartment. We're finally making progress. Slowly but steadily, the pile outside got smaller and the pile inside started growing. I think we started carrying boards at around 6 o'clock, and we carried and carried and carried until about 11 o'clock when we finally managed to carry the last set of boards into the apartment. And it was just so cool to see that not only did we manage to carry these boards into the apartment up 3 flights of stairs, but we're starting to get good at it. In the beginning, it was all kind of awkward, and especially with those large boards, somehow the guys just figured out how to carry them up, so it went with like no problem. They were super quick, and I just kept looking at them and thinking, professional companies that do this for a living couldn't figure out how to do it, and you guys just show up, are super motivated, and just crush it. I mean, it was awesome. So we got a good routine going, more and more people started showing up. Now Vilda called both her brothers, which basically immediately showed up, one of which was on his way to work out with 2 of his friends, and when they heard of our situation, they just all canceled their workout plans, biked over here, and decided that carrying drywall is a great workout. People showed up after we finished work to help us carry. At one point even, one of my old friends, Mikael, which I went to school with when I was like 14, 15, all of a sudden stood out in front of our gate, ready to carry. He'd seen the post on Facebook. Turns out he lives right across the street. He comes over and starts helping. And although it was a lot of hard work, at about 11 o'clock, we'd managed to carry all the sheets into this apartment. And I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that helped. Thank you to Vilda's brothers, Alan and Audun. Thank you, Anders and Elisa, for canceling your workout and carrying drywall instead. Thank you so much, both Maddie and Mikael, and Rayton and Evie. And thank you to Vilda's mom, who provided a pizza. And of course, thank you so much to Vilda, my awesome girlfriend, who helped carry boards all day. And not only that, after we'd carried all the boards up in here, we still had some leftover boards down on the ground floor because Nurips only sent full pallets, all of which we then proceeded to load up into a van, drive to my workshop. At this point, it's past midnight. We're both exhausted, but super, super happy and satisfied that we got it done and we managed to carry everything in. And it's not even just carrying all the stuff into the apartment, but we've also constantly been moving stuff back and forth to get access to the floor. For instance, now we had to shift everything from this side of the apartment over to that corner so we can continue with the first layer on the rest of the ceiling, because over in that corner we've already got 2 layers. But hey, we're making progress, and I've got great help from Vilda carrying all this stuff. Oh, by the way, you remember I said that it was about 44 steps, which I counted, by the way. between here and the ground floor. At some point, I did start to count the amount of trips. After about 32 trips, I lost count, which was only like a third of the way into the day. So I don't really have super accurate data, but my phone told me that I'd walked 91 floors, which is just shy of walking up the Empire State Building with a full sheet of drywall on your back. Yeah, I don't think I ever want to do that again. And not enough that we had to carry all this stuff in here, we're also left with all the leftovers, which we of course need to collect. We then also get to, you guessed it, carry it down all 3 flights of stairs again. So that's the story of how we got all these materials in here, how 2 companies took this over in the same day, and how great friends can save your day. All right, you've seen me do a lot of drywall already, so let's finish this place up. But first, a quick ad from today's sponsor, Squarespace. So when I'm not busy renovating old apartments like this one, I usually make and design stuff. Things like 3D printed boxes and pieces of furniture. And I sell the plans and 3D files for those on my website. A website which I created using Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easy for creators to monetize their content and expertise in a way that fits with their brand. Did you know Squarespace enabled me to super quickly and easily create my own website? It was really easy to set up, didn't need any technical knowledge. All you need to do is choose from any of their award-winning templates and get started creating your own website right away. Squarespace has the tools you need to get your business off the ground, including e-commerce templates, inventory management, a simple checkout process, and secure payments. So on my website, I sell everything from build plans to 3D files, but whatever you want to sell online, Squarespace has the merchandising features to make your products look their best. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/ALCH for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Oh my God. Woo! It is very echoey in here, so just bear with me. But we're done. We're completely done with all the drywall for the entire apartment. Now, yeah, that did take a lot of work, and there's a lot of small bits and pieces that just end up taking way more time than you expect, but I'm really, really happy with the result. Like, come on, this already looks like an actual apartment and not a construction site. Now, you've seen the pretty abbreviated version of all the work that's gone into this. Mostly the same as you've seen before, but there's a couple of things I'm really proud of that I quickly want to show you. Well, first off, what used to be an old door opening that was bricked up, we framed it out so we got a little bit of extra space here. The TV is going to go right in front, so we can use this space as like a media cabinet to house all electronics and all that stuff. And the cool thing that we did here is that there's a hole up here. This is going to be right behind the TV. This hole leads to a shaft that goes all the way down here. So down here we can pass through cables from the TV and know that it's going to be visible. Also, we've got a port for Ethernet and 8 outlets for all the electronics. Now, next up, this is going to be the entrance area. You can see these weird metal recessed strips. So this section here is actually 6 millimeters lower than these 2 sidewalls. And the reason for that is that we were going to put a mirror that runs all the way up the entire height of the wall. And the mirror, once it's glued in between here, is gonna sit completely flush with the wall. I think that's gonna look really good. It's just a super fun little detail that is a fair bit of work and probably most people won't notice, but it makes me really happy. Now for this living room, just like in the bathroom, we're gonna have these really cool big lamps by modular lighting instruments, and they use this massive mounting ring that you install onto the wall, and I've had to install 7 of them in this living room, which takes a fair bit of time. All those are mounted. Super excited about the way that's gonna look, because we'll not only have them in the ceiling, but there's also 2 of them in the walls. And that's pretty much it for this episode and for all the drywall. I just love the way this section here frames in the 2 exposed brick walls. And man, these brick walls just look so good. Vilda spent so much time scraping out all the old grout, cleaning everything off multiple times, and then regrouting every single little crack. You get to see what it looks like now, but I'll show you all that went into it, all the details and all the hard work in a later episode. I just want to say again, thank you so much to all our friends that helped carry in all the drywall. Without you guys, none of it would have been possible. We would probably still be stuck with pallets and pallets of this stuff down on the driveway. Now, that's pretty much it for this video. If you're tired of watching us renovate, how about you head over to alch.shop. That's my website where I sell a bunch of really cool build plans, 3D files for a bunch of different projects. Everything from shop furniture to 3D printed molds and 3D printed boxes to organize all your stuff. That also greatly helps to support me and what I do. Again, thanks so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.